My my immediate sense from the question aligns to I don't want to mispronounce your name. But my friend who just spoke before me, it's a mindset, I would say. That's kind of where I went, but I have a lot more to say, but that's just my initial feeling.
Thanks, Nate. It is Nagamani.
I echo that statement that love is all around us, and I think it's in nature.
It's such a great optimistic start to the discussion, but I guess I've got a challenge, which is I love hearing what you guys are saying, but I'm wondering why it doesn't feel like that in the world.
Wondering that too. Um, Knowing that there's much there, it's not what's being shared enough. Um, was fully anticipating a different kind of song and filled with golden retrievers and all kinds of things to bring out the love emotion and not the depth of sadness.
You should know me better, Jenny.
I know. Um, and watching that video, just feeling like I don't know the year that the song came out. I don't know the year that the video came out. Oh my God.
Don't, I mean, when it was playing, I was tearing up.
Yeah,
Maybe different reasons than you because you're in the US at the minute,
yeah.
but it's for me, it's just a very emotional song.
Hmm. It is. And it's a call. It's a call
Mhm.
to us to show that love and express that love and highlight and spotlight that love and share our love and gratitude and appreciation and all of those things whenever we can.
It was 2003.
I don't think I could take one made today. I think that might put me down for 3 days, but it's definitely a call to action.
I would like to add something to the opening statement I made. In fact, I wanted to add it at that point itself. It is love is everywhere, but it is left to each individual person to nurture, express, and experience it. And I think, as Jenny said, there are various parameters which doesn't let an individual to express or experience it. But it's all in the mind. And if one wants to, or one minds to love everything what they have and every person or every resource which is available to us, then it's not impossible.
There's a poem that my grandmother gave me about 30 years ago that I've tried to live my life by. It's called Desiderata, and it's provided a nice roadmap of and purpose in my life. And the last section of it says, and I find myself saying this often, is with all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it's still a beautiful world. Strive to be cheerful and happy. And that touches a little bit on the mindset and also what Gwen said about just the stunning beauty of Mother Nature. So even in the darkest hours. So I wanted to share that.
I think love as an energy is a beautiful thing because love is the highest energy a human can definitely feel. So, as said, whether it is to, feel it mentally or emotionally depends according to our capabilities, because we do have different capabilities to respond, react, think, and feel because of our experiences. Sometimes love does bring a little bit of different dimensions for us to not be open to receive it. Sometimes we feel we are less worthy to receive it, or sometimes we feel it is like too good to receive. So there are dimensions. So I think it is energy basically for us to definitely sense.
I'd love to do a word count on the song and to see how many times love was mentioned. Yeah, it's a goosebump song for sure.
You mentioned word count. I wonder how often the word love is used, because certainly in workplaces, it's rarely used. And so if the word isn't used, are we surprised it's not more present, evident, appreciated? Seems to be something in that.
Does that depend on the kind of work that you do or your work environment, Alan?
Well, maybe, but I've worked in places where you're actually spending more time with your colleagues than you are with family and loved ones in your personal life. And those people that you get on really well with, it is a form of love, but it's never labeled as such. And actually, in some places where I've worked, this is my take on it, because and it's not evidence backed, but I think if anybody had suggested that we should use the word love a bit more freely, they would have been laughed out of town.
I agree with you. Many times at workplace, I have found that the word is looked at with a different lens altogether. And I think it is misunderstood many times, even in schools with children. And since I am always working with children and teachers, I have seen many occasions where when a child comes up and says, I love you, to a friend or to a teacher or to anybody, it is misinterpreted. which is where I think we have not been able to nurture this in children. And we may not be able to see people expressing it at appropriate times or experience it. That may be one of the reasons.
Nagamani, I'm curious, why do you think that is?
I have thought about this for a long time, for decades now. And I think in the beginning, I thought that people did not understand the purity of love. Like Aishwarya said, there is love in this virtual meet because we are so passionately talking about the concept and that emotion. But we all have understood that love can exist within a person's mind towards any object or anybody. It is not tainted with any other emotion. Whereas when a teacher looks at children, I think when they say, I love you, they take it in a different sense and they become overprotective and try to tell the child that you are not supposed to say this to everybody. And that is where the misconception begins. So why am I not supposed to say I love you to anybody? And how am I supposed to interpret this love? How am I supposed to express it? If we are able to teach the children how to express it, how to experience it, I think the world would be better off with more love. And even in the workplace, I think it is in the same interest or in the same lens that they view it. So I can't love my colleague. Why not? Why not is my question. And I have been subjected to many, I have been involved in many situations where they find it very odd or very strange that I say I love my colleague. I genuinely love this person. Truly, because of the individual that person is. It doesn't matter who it is or where they are from. But I love the way that person is giving an experience to everybody else in the workplace. So there's nothing wrong in saying I love you to that person. But as Ellen said, I don't think we use that word very often in workplace. No.
Just another observation on the use of the word. How often do you hear people saying, I love that band. I love that restaurant.
Yeah.
I love that destination.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it comes to human beings, people,
Yeah.
we're very limited in our use of it. Well, that's my experience anyway.
Yeah, same here.
Perhaps people need the word to be qualified. So I'm just thinking that, somebody saying, I love the way that you go above and beyond for the students, or I love the way that you can just organize something from nothing, and how successful, these. I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe I'm thinking about expressing the word love in terms of showing respect and gratitude. Coming back to what Jenny said, I was actually quite shocked at the choice of music. I was thinking something classical, something that had me thinking about the waves lapping on the sea or on the shore and all that stuff. But actually, the song itself and the visuals and everything just reminded me of this broken world that we live in, and how man seeks its own destruction, and yet all around us we have nature abounding in love and trying to give us that hope for the future, maybe.
Mm. And if I can, at the beginning of what was just said, then there was, when somebody says to me, I love the way you look after the students or other things, how would somebody feel if instead of the words being put forward like that, I love the way that you do, instead of that, if they said, I love you and the way that you, and then the same things.
I don't have well-developed thoughts, so these are very surface, instinctual comments. My sense is there's a relationship between love and trust, a sense of trust. And I'm talking about human interactions and relations versus maybe with the spiritual or Mother Nature. And I think maybe that's why there's a level of resistance or discomfort to maybe framing it that way, where it's a bit safer to say, I love what you did there, but I'm not saying I love you because I may not have that um, established sense of trust, which in my view is a bit of a qualifier, maybe, for that sense of love that you're describing. So those are just my quick feelings that I'm trying to articulate, but probably not very well.
May I, if you don't mind, I would like to just give an idea that as Nat sir said, I just had something that you once said, sir, that I love you and the way you did. It is, as he rightly said, it is a qualifying statement. It is like a condition that he loves me, that's why he appreciates me. But rather, if you say that I love the way you have done, means you have really loved it, you could sense it. So there is some sort of an conditional clause attached with it, probably for the other party to, what do you say, respond or
Understand?
yeah, true.
Yes, that feeling of unconditional love
Yes, because
hard,
love
is hard
does,
to capture, isn't it?
yeah, because love is something that makes us always in such a state that if we love a person, we love whatever they do, we love everything about them. So saying this, that I love you, and that blah blah blah, whatever you said, it might be a clause that might attach us, or there is some connection that makes that, yes, you love me, that's why you encouraged me, rather it was really good. We do have that sort of uh, thing. But if you say that I love the way you have expressed, or the love, I loved the way you have presented or expressed, that might be a statement that says that you have done well, that confirms our performance. That's something was in my mind.
I'm curious to hear Nagamani's view on this because I'm thinking of a classroom setting and I'm thinking of those two variations that we talked about just now, where a child says to another one, I love the way that you're good at athletics and I love the way that you walk with me to the bus stop, um, versus I love you because you're good at athletics and you walk me to the bus stop. And there's something I don't know, there's something much warmer about the second version than the first, which is a behavioral observation rather than the person themselves.
Yeah. I think with children, how it works is I can't say, I love you because you have done this, because then that becomes a conditional love, right? I love you for who you are, but I love the way you have done this,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I say, I love you because you drew something very well, or I love you because you crossed the street very safely, then I think the child comprehends it in a different way and understands it as, if I do X, Y, Z, my teacher or my mom will love me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what we are meaning.
Mm-hmm.
We want to convey that I love you for everything that you are, but I want to appreciate that you have done this very well. So that's the reason I said in a work setting, if we say, I love my colleague, it is as a person, I love this person. It's not the action or the behavior which I'm loving. That we do admire. Many times we appreciate it and we express it. But the fact that I love this person as an individual has to be communicated in some form or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And
When
I
I
have
hear that,
realized,
sorry, go
sorry,
for
I'll
finish.
just add one more sentence.
Yeah.
I realized that the minute I express my love for the person in a workplace, that person trusts me, like Nate said, and he or she will do anything for me. Unlike the case where I do not express my love for this individual, I work as a colleague, I appreciate everything he or she does, but I do not express my love.
Mm.
Sorry, Alan, you were about to say something.
No, I'm absolutely fascinated by this because I was thinking, well, surely your love for somebody is because of who they've expressed themselves as. And now I'm asking, well, does that mean that love can actually be the starting point before you know what anybody is like, even? And then I was thinking about how, in that way, love and trust are quite similar in some ways, because I know that I do start from a place of trusting somebody, and they have to prove that they can't be trusted. You know, it's not that they have to prove that they can, but I definitely don't start from a place of I love everyone, because it's um, something has to be evidenced for that. So I'm now wondering why the difference between the approach to love and to trust.
I start from loving everyone.
Maybe there's, if not able to be in that space of starting out in a place of loving everyone, but valuing everyone. Um, so maybe that can be a launching point if the other is difficult. But thinking about um, in the workplace in particular, and just speaking from perspective here in the US, and Nate, this may resonate with you, but I think that there are people that are afraid to say that in the workplace here, because it may be interpreted in a way that was not intended. And we're so, we seem to take things to the extreme. And some of the protection is good, but then there's something that we lose that's pure and meaningful. And does that make sense with that being kind of explicit about?
Mm. And that's made me think of again a classroom setting where I can imagine a teacher saying to the room, "I love you all because," and then going on,
Mhm.
and find that much easier to do than to direct those words at an individual.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it a cultural thing? I don't know. Are other cultures more willing and easy with using the word love and telling people that they love them? Is it just us? Are we just scared to own our own feelings or share them for fear of being judged?
Well, this touches on, Gwen, a lot of work that I know Alan and Jenny and maybe all of you around kindness, um, where yes, I think embedded kindness as sort of a culture or a community value is uneven. You can go 3 miles down the street in one neighborhood can exhibit and illustrate a sense of warmth and kindness, and then go 3 miles in the other direction, and no one comes out of their house. The neighbors don't talk to one another. So I raise that just to say, in a lot of these kindness conversations that have been wonderful to be a part of, when I hear Nagamani speak, it's sort of this beautiful thing where love is sort of embedded as the foundation from which everyone sort of all activity, energy, interaction kind of stems from. And that operating paradigm is it's highly uneven, as Jenny mentions, particularly in the US, where the DNA is built around such an intensity around competition. And when you view life through a competitive lens and not through a loving and kindness prism, it creates incompatibilities and imbalances that then can be very challenging. And so that's why I think all of us on this call are doing in our own small ways at a hyper local level to help change that curve, to bend the curve a little bit as best we can, to lead with love and kindness. So just some immediate thoughts.
Mm. And this whole thing around culture, I don't know why it seems to have happened just in the last week and a bit, actually. I seem to be having several conversations about the balance between um, individual will and the infrastructure or systems within which we exist. So, just to give an example, this is not about love, but to give an example of the way people are, and let's just accept that many people are just out for personal achievement, self-fulfillment, and everybody else doesn't really matter. That's the way many societies are, certainly in the West. And then you look at the schooling system, which is all about personal achievement and getting your grades and you don't have to worry about helping anybody else, just get your grades. So bringing this now to systems, if the system is all about personal achievement at school, why are we surprised that that churns out people that are selfish and don't give a shit about anybody else? And then rewind again back to school. Imagine if, let's say, the 4 days you do focus on personal achievement, but on the fifth day every week, the kids in the school are working together in groups or doing work in the community or whatever it is. That system, I think, would stand a much better chance of turning out people that are more rounded rather than so selfish. So individual will is great, but if you're fighting against such a strong system, then you can have limited success. That's kind of the guts of the conversation that we've been having. So interested to understand how you think that applies or not to this discussion.
I think you're referring to leadership, Alan. And, we know fundamentally here in the UK, the problem is the curriculum and the leadership that we have. And it's all political, a political hot potato. But we know that we have got absolutely hundreds and thousands, millions of teachers in this country who are genuinely trying to teach the children personal, social, emotional skills that are going to equip them for life. And that we are constantly up against this system. And thinking about this forum now, you've talked about co-production, you've talked about having a collective think, about valuing everyone's contribution. Sadly, that's not what happens in real life, particularly in the current political environment that we live in, or that we're educating children in. That's my view, anyway. It's a struggle for our children, I think.
I think this is because of lack of value-based education that has been infused in very early stage, that unknowingly the child gets tuned to. That's something because they observe what's happening around, and people are so much, focused to be success driven, goal oriented. So probably that's something that mind of, achieving materialistic success, or the success that is defined by society, means a lot more than love. And they weigh love as just a feeling. That's not something that's going to be in my society. I at least have observed that people have one question when I speak about feelings and emotions and connections. They say, yeah, this is all beautiful to talk, or it is something that we can live once in a while, but not always. For my living, does it help me to feed all of my family or to live comfortably? So maybe the struggle and the life challenges have designed people to be in such mentality.
You've reminded me, Aishwarya, I had a conversation with, it's actually the son of a lady that I know in Sao Paulo in Brazil. And he was describing this development, which are these super apartments. And when I say super apartments, each one has a swimming pool on their balcony on each floor of this apartment block. So it's like super high end. And it's built right next door to a slum.
Oh.
And he was describing to me how he knows somebody who lives in this apartment block, a single child, teenager, and he also knows people that live in the slum. And what he was saying was that the people that live in the slum are far happier, even though they know people that have been killed. They've got much stronger friendships, much happier, have so much more joy, even though they have very little, than this lonely teenager in their high-rise apartment block. So in some ways, it's kind of a flawed logic to say to drive everybody to success, because it's ignoring the value of those things that probably are more difficult to understand the value of until they're not there.
I have seen people lacking self-satisfaction and sorry. No, it is something that when we are driven towards success, we lose ourselves, in that race. And that's the reason people lose that self-satisfaction or self-discovery idea that they are meant to, because we always live new when we see things in different perspective in every way. But they don't define it in such a manner. They see, if I do this, it should give me some results that is beneficial to me in terms of what they really see as an achievement or accomplishment. So that's the reason love is something, it's not very much valued or expressed very freely, probably.
I want to
And yet,
share some
there's so-
experience. Sorry, Gwen. Go on.
no, I just wanted to sort of build on what Ashwara was saying, really about music. There is so much music out there about love. And music is a great leveler and a great way of communicating across all boundaries. Yeah. It's a strange dichotomy, isn't it?
Nagamani, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I wanted to share an experience of how love can help people overcome challenges in a better manner than otherwise. I had this family who were going through a very big challenge in their life, and they did not know how to navigate it. Their children, both of them, were coming to my nursery, and I realized that they were going through a hardship, and I talked to the parents and I said, it is these times of crisis when you have to show and express love for each other, which will strengthen you and which will make you feel better, empowered to handle whatever you want to handle. And I gave them some sentences, asked them to say to each other and to the children too, because that would make them feel that they are on a positive note rather than in a challenging situation. And I realized that they were able to overcome the difficulty very quickly. And every day, day after day, I could see them more and more cheerful. And within 3 months, they were able to come out of the crisis situation, which they never thought they would. And I did not do much. My contribution was very little because I only gave them the sentences. It is they who practiced it. It is they who loved each other even more. And it's they who created the solution for their crisis situation. And I believe that love has this extraordinary power to make people gain a lot of courage, strength, determination. to achieve whatever they want to. We have heard of a lot of love stories, the romantic love stories, where they have overcome many hurdles to have each other in their lives. That's an indication of how powerful love can be. And that's what we need to nurture in every situation, I think.
And Nagamani, I just love the way you speak and characterize things. You'd love a book called From Aging to Saging. It's a beautiful, very meaningful book in my life. But when I hear you speak, I think about why faith and spirituality and God, whatever you conceive God to be in your own life, um, plays such a vital role in people's lives, because even though you may not be shown love in your family unit or by a neighbor, you may be shown love by that teacher who you are, the educator that provides that spiritual presence. And then something bigger, you may find that love in when you go on a hike, and you're in Mother Nature. So I'm sharing that just to say, I really appreciate what I would describe as the wisdom that you're sharing.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's
Jenny,
beautiful.
I can hear your
You can hear,
brain. So
you can, we've developed this telepathic thing with all these calls, haven't we, Alan? Yeah, that's beautiful. And Nate, one more, the resource, thank you for that, the additional resource. And I think, Nagamani, you've hit on something really beautiful in the way that you shared with this family. You helped them to have a vision, and you're an educator. And I think education is a big part of this. To how do we, so take it, say in businesses, in the workplace, and in particularly in leadership. We talked about it is about leaders, right? So the more stories, the more anecdotes, the more white papers, the more whatever we can educate and share. Okay, so what is the good? What is the benefit of creating those kinds of cultures in the workplace, or in families, or in communities, or in, heaven forbid, government, that might ever happen. But if a leader, it doesn't naturally gravitate to leading with kindness and compassion and love and all of that, then, and they're looking at the bottom line, then let's show them the bottom line of somebody who is leading like that. And that they're, whether it's their employee retention goes way up and they don't have retraining costs, or their team building, or their sense of employees working together because they trust and love and appreciate one another. What's the bottom line on their business? And then maybe they'll start to do the good and the right, even if it's not for altruistic reasons to begin with, but maybe they'll start to kind of change around, and let's meet people where they are. But I think the more that we can share the good stories, and and then I don't know, there's a wonderful journalist here in the US named Steve Hartman. And he tells the most extraordinary stories about kindness, love, compassion, and it just melts people inside. Let's have a whole lot more of those stories. Let's share our own stories, and help to make it more of the norm and the standard, instead of the outlier where you have to be in a certain industry. Like I've worked for a lot of years with leadership consultants, and I'll be in a community of coaches that are doing a lot of deep practice work. And so it's not strange for me to be in like a 3-day workshop and have people be sharing, I love you or something like that. But I understand in a lot of that's outside the norm in a lot of businesses and industries. So the more that we can make it the norm, accept it, show the reason for, the benefits of, I think the more we're going to have people that adopt and it become more of the norm. And the one thing that brings me hope in how difficult things are right now, particularly in the US, is that at some point we'll get to a point where we'll go, this is not working. Let's try love, shall we?
Yeah.
So hoping we're getting closer.
I think that might be a good point to draw this values jam to a close, actually, Jenny, because it feels like kind of a natural pause. And if we open up something else, then it might take a bit too long. So there's always a way that I like to finish these sessions, and that is to hear from each of you what you're encouraged to do differently about love as a result of this conversation. So I won't pick somebody. When you've had chance to process that question and you're ready, please share. So what are you encouraged to do differently about love as a result of this conversation?
I can kick it off. I would say to have the courage and vulnerability to incorporate love into conversation.
Thanks, Nate.
I'll continue to love the people around me because everyone is beautiful.
Yeah, I think I'd like to celebrate and explore this whole concept of love with my students, actually.
Oh, what a brilliant idea.
A lot of love is needed in social work and in education and everything. Well, we need love all over the world, don't we?
Thanks, Gwen.
For me, it's just that I've heard that many dimensions of love today in a very powerful manner. So the lesson was that I'll not have any conditions or any expectations for it. So I'll just share my love and not expect anything in return, because when we expect, we lose ourselves. So it's better to just express. So I'll express my love in whatever capacity I can.
Thanks, Aishwarya. Jenny, I think it's you.
I think I'll double my efforts on wanting to love more than I fear.
Mm.
And that means for me, and if I'm second guessing something or saying something with love, an initiative, whatever, that I do it. And the second piece of that is bringing more of love into my life instead of too much of the news, too many podcasts, too many things about being aware of what's happening, ensuring that I shut that away for a bit and watch something beautiful, watch something uplifting, watch something filled with love that's inspiring.
And I've got two, actually. One is a sense of optimism, because in this discussion, I think we've talked about how love is within us all, and it's probably the foundation of everything. So it's there. It's just a question of uncovering it and using it more actively, because it's there. So that's great to know. And the other thing is, on a more practical level, I don't think I tell my kids often enough that I love them. So I'm going to do that more. So that's our values jam done. In a way, I'm sorry to have shocked some of you with the choice of music at the beginning. Maybe one thing that you'd like to do if you've got 2 or 3 minutes spare right now is just Google All You Need Is Love by the Beatles, because that's a very uplifting song about love that you might want to listen to. Thank you so much for this Values Jam. I've loved it, and I hope you did too.
Thank you so much for giving me the
Thank
chance to
you.
speak.
Yeah, this is likewise. We all have shared this energy called love today. So thank you for giving us this opportunity, sir. And thanks all of you who have shared this beautiful energy of yours. Love you again. Sending lots of
Love you
love.
all.
Can we take a fast screenshot?
Yeah, sure.
If you're
Yeah.
quick, Jenny.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye bye.